Hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome to the Midseason report. Mattia, I wish I could say it was good to see Toto, Christian, Gunter, good to see you. We can all sit down now. Mattia, I don't want you to even look at me. You are so lucky I invited. I'm not getting started. Toto, nice to see you. Nice to see you getting back on track, Christian. We had you separated. Gunter, I'm so pleased to see you. You've been a mist. You're a gem here. Cyril, no. You're next year. Go away. All right. Hey guys, welcome to the Midseason report. Yeah. Sorry for a little bit of delay. Put some good amount of work into this thing, but well, let's start off. We are going in order of last season's standings. So first is Mercedes, then Red Bull, then Ferrari, then McLaren, and so on. Each of the grades for each team is based on the full year, not just form and stuff. So Mercedes-Benz, I gave them an A minus. I would say it's up and down. Earlier in the year, you would say it was very messy. Lewis not making out of Q1 in Jeddah, struggling, just simply not having the pace. And of course, in testing, they brought up the zero pod, and people got pretty scared that, here we go. It's another year where Mercedes just bring out a new design, and they win everything. Personally, I never bought into it. I was a little bit critical of how the heck they were going to cool down that car. That actually wasn't the main problem. In Spain they had a problem with that, but they have air spaceship tech in there, so they're fine with that. But their A minus is purely based on their recent form. They have had a podium in 6 straight races, and in back-to-back podiums have had 2 threes. It feels like they're right on the edge of a race wing. And personally, I'm surprised at how good they are. The main reason that they're this good is reliability. It's quite opposite of what they were last year. Last year, it was a bunch of let's just try and get as much performance. They were throwing engines away left and right. But they are not doing that anymore. They are being very reliable. Haven't taken any penalties yet. And I would say so far George is slightly outdoing Lewis. Lewis is definitely in better form. And I would think if anyone to win a race, it'd obviously be Lewis. I think Lewis probably should have won at Silverstone. I think he was the fastest man that day. Lewis at Silverstone. It's his home. It's where he feels most comfortable. So, of course, he's going to do well there. I would say that I'd be concerned for the second half of the year. I just feel like hope-wise is we're seeing them compete with Ferrari and Red Bull. I just don't know if they can continue that. But we'll see. I hope they do. It'll be way more entertaining because they're the only team that have any potential of competing and getting race wins. Red Bull Racing, Mr. Horner, Max, and Sergio. Sergio, really proud of you this half season. Sergio's been doing really well. Won a race, and I like to point out for 2 to 3 races there was a stretch. It was Monaco, and then 2 at races after Monaco as well. He was just straight faster than Max. He was outdoing him in the qualifying sessions and practice sessions. He was topping Max. And it looks like it might be a real 4-way battle. But for some reason, last couple of races, the car's been looking like it's slipping away from Checo. I hope it could do better, but the grade for Red Bull is obviously an A+. They have a 100-point lead in the constructors and an 80-point lead in the drivers. What else do you want? Early in the year, didn't look so hot. They had a lot of concerns reliability-wise. There was concerns they had double DNFs in Bahrain. Max had another DNF later on in Australia. And you were like, oh, this is Ferrari domination? and then Ferrari pulled a Ferrari. So Red Bull are in control. Their strategy team doesn't get credit for how good it is. People like to hate on Ferrari strategy, but part of that is Red Bulls are just spot on. Red Bull's spot on with their race strategy, and yeah, it looks like they're gonna get Max his second world championship, and Red Bull their fifth constructor. Like, it just looks inevitable at this point. The only thing that would stop it is some sort of miracle. It would have to be either Red Bull reliability, Max and Checo making mistakes, or Ferrari just landslide them in the power race. I don't see that happening. So it's looking nothing. Everything's going according to plan for Red Bull. Ferrari. Now, disclaimer: I am a little bit more critical of Ferrari because I am indeed a Ferrari fan. I gave him a B. Now, if you're looking at where they were last year to here, like if I just transported myself from the end of last year to this year without knowing they were going to make a big jump, you have to give them an A+ then, right? But it's not. We knew going into this year, Ferrari were going to be competitive. And then you get to the test and you're like, oh, they're not just they could be the fastest car. We go to Bahrain and we get, oh, what the heck? You go to Australia and you're like, oh my God. Bahrain is like, oh, this is amazing. And then Monaco, France happened, Baku happened, Spain happened. Baku, I think, was so bad, man. Baku, nothing was worse than France. I was so upset. Backstory on I may have told the story before, but for France, I was in the car when the race was happening, and they cut to a Ferrari in the wall. I mean, Leclerc had fended off Verstappen. Verstappen was trying to do something different, so he went a bit earlier. And so I'm like, oh, wow, Ferrari are going to do something here. This might be a good race. Carlos was steaming through the field. Carlos was doing great. And then you just see a Ferrari in the wall. And my first thought was like, oh, Carlos, not again. I thought we got over this. And then you see number 16 on the car. And I screamed. I have never had that emotion. I'm usually a tame reaction person. I kind of lost it. I kind of lost it because that felt like the championship. And if you ask any Ferrari fan, you're like, what did that feel like? It felt like Germany 2019 when Vettel crashed in Germany in that infamous Germany Grand Prix. It might have been 2018. I'm pretty sure it was 2019 though. But yeah, it was similar to that situation where you just felt the championship just let go and disappear. But the main thing is the strategy. Reliability seems to be under control, but strategy. Matteo, first of all, let's get Matteo in here for this. Matteo, so in Hungary, you decided to put Charles on hard compound tires when Carlos was behind him, and if you really wanted to do that, you could try it on him because he's not challenging for the championship. So why didn't you do that? Oh, because it was a bad tire. Why did you put it on Charles? Interesting. And if you're gonna put the hard tire on, don't let him race on them. The most. I play Formula 1, and I'm not even that great. You know what you do? You go medium, soft, medium. Hello? What do you, Ferrari? Do you see the Alpines on the tire? You see the Haas of Kevin Magnussen on that tire. It's the same engine in your car. It was literally called a white Ferrari because it had the same sculpts in the side pod that your car has. And you're like, let's put the hards. I'm sorry. All right. Mateo, get out of here. I don't want to look at you anymore. But, yeah. Strategy. And the worst thing is they're saying it's fine. Nothing's wrong. That's not true. They need to clear up strategy. I was watching 2016 Baku the other day. And guess what? They're talking about more strategy rows from Ferrari, more strategy failures from Ferrari. It's a Ferrari fan go through two phases: hope and disappointment. They never fail. They always give you the hope. They always give you the pace, and then they just squeeze it out of you. They squeeze the life out of you. It's again, I gave them a B. I don't know if I even said that. I will say, Carlos, props on Carlos and Charles. Third race, good. Charles, of course, had a great start, but Carlos was bad. I mean, bad to start the year. I was confused because, like, if you asked people, you would have said it would have been closer between Carlos and Charles in the start of the year. Like, there are people seriously saying Carlos should be the favorite if Ferrari are winning the world championship. Like, that was a thing because he was so good last year. But there was something off. Maybe it was a Checo situation where the car wasn't, like, suited to him. But it wasn't even like he yes, he was lacking pace, but he was just crashing. And, like, he couldn't. It was weird. But he's really gotten over that. In France and in Hungary, he's been doing better. I really like his aggressiveness on comms. I really hope Charles adapts this because his aggressiveness in Silverstone, that led to a win for him. In France, it was like kind of aggressive. He was just like, I'm going to come in next. I don't care. So, yeah, I like Carlos. I think he's on great form. Aaron. McLaren's tough. Because again, if you do Ferrari, the Ferrari thing where like you go directly from last year to this year, McLaren would be like, I am a B- just because of the terrible start they had last year. And the fact that they were looking fast in early tests. And yes, it's not their fault that their car looked good and it just didn't improve to where they should have. But it's still, disappointment. McLaren, they're just kind of in no man's land. They're in the fourth or fifth, but sometimes it feels like they're like sixth or seventh worst car in the grid. But yeah, McLaren's also have just a little bit of drama going on with them. Just a tiny bit. The Piastri thing. By the way, thank you guys for the love on the Piastri video. I really appreciate it. But Piastri situation. I don't know if it's possible. If I was McLaren, I would have gone after Alonso. But Lawrence Stroll probably gave him $100 million a year. So I don't know if it was possible. Because going after Piastri, it's weird. Because, unlike Albon, I don't think Lando was good with younger talents. I don't know if he'll bring younger talent up. I'm not saying he's incapable of it. But I would have gone for, someone veteran, like a Gasly if he was available. Or if not, they're I don't know. Piastri was a weird one. Going after a Gasly next year and just leaving Ricciardo in there. Because it's not like they have the pace to be pushing. It's not like McLaren have the pace to push. It's weird. And then you could just wait and have a Dale Porcher or someone else along those levels. Because I think Dale Porcher and Piastri are around the similar level talent-wise. So it's just it's interesting. Also, Logan Sargent should get a look in F1. Just like to point that out. Again, McLaren B-. Next up, Alpine B+. again, the whole Piastri situation with them. They were majorly in the wrong. If I was them, maybe get Hulk. I could see them getting Hulkenberg in there with Ocon. I could see them doing that, something like that, something along those lines. Getting Hulkenberg into the racing seat. But racing-wise, it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell what Alonso's just carrying that car to. And, of course, Ocon has some good points himself. So, it's hard to tell. It just kind of seems like it's the most invisible team on the grid to me. B+, nothing really like storyline besides the Piastri stuff. And next, Aston Martin Racing, C-. Aston Martin Racing have the backing of a Mercedes and a Ferrari. They've been Aston Martin for a couple of years now. They should not be back of the midfield barely making out of Q1s. They should be with McLaren and Alpine. They should be fighting them, legit fighting them. Like they should be like fighting Mercedes, for like fighting the tail ends of Mercedes, right? That's what they should be. But it's C- for them. Seb's leaving is very sad. Seb is one of my favorite all-time drivers. I might make a video when he actually retires about Seb, but might save it for another day. But I know everyone knows about it, but like the spin out at last race with him, Alonso, and Hamilton. I want that so bad. I want even more, though, is for Seb to at least get on the podium, if not a race win. A race win in this last year, that would be special to me. That would be special. AlphaTauri Honda Racing. I give them a C+. I'm going to make a video about Pierre Gasly before summer break's over, hopefully. I've said things that turn out not to be true before, so I hope this isn't one of them, but Pierre Gasly's been very disappointing this year. The car is just awful, man. Car has been very rubbish. I feel like Tsunoda's gotten better, but the car is just nowhere. It's nowhere. Baku was such a good sign for them. And I was like, wait, maybe they can just, I don't know. Maybe in Baku, that would have been a trend. But you look back on that now, it's an outlier, not a trend. They only got there, one, because the two Ferraris were out as well. So, they have no business to fight with Williams. They should be up with McLaren and stuff. And they're just, they aren't regularly. Williams Racing Motorsport, I give you guys a B-. Great improvement. I will say one thing. Williams, Alfa Romeo, Haas, they are great points for how much better this racing league has got. Because of these regs, the racing's closer, the salary cap, the wind tunnel time, everything. It worked. It worked tremendously. Williams and Alpha and AlphaTauri and some of these teams are going to have to be down in 8th, 9th, and 10th. But it's not like a Haas where last year, they have to be 10th. Williams the year before, they have to be 10th. There's no team that has to be 10th. It's all circuit dependent. It's what you want. You don't, you have people that shine and go down. And Williams, if they get a good driver, because Latifi's too good for F1, in my opinion. He's just bored. Last year he was beating George Russell. He was like, I'm just too good. I'm bored. So, you have that kind of problem there. So, but honestly, I do think after Abu Dhabi, it's my personal theory, after Abu Dhabi, he got a lot of hate. A lot of hate. And I think I got to him. I think it genuinely got to him, because he seems like a good guy. The Canadian thing, all Canadians are good, but, he genuinely seems like a nice kid. And to receive all that hate, it must have been tough. And then his predecessor, George Russell, leaves the team and is challenging, gets a pole. It's not easy for you. to replace Latifi, there's options. You got Hulkenberg. Don't think that's a great option. Teo Porcher, Oscar Piastri, if he's available, is a good option. I think Oscar would be good, and I really think they should go for a young driver, because I referenced him earlier. Alex Albon. He's, I think, a rare commodity for a team. He works well with other drivers. He's like Lando Norris looked up to Albon when he was younger because he was so good in karting and all these other things. He's a rare commodity where he works well with younger talents. I mean, after he got sacked from AlphaTauri, or Toro Rosso, I don't think he ever raced for AlphaTauri technically, but after he got sacked, he could have definitely been petty. When they asked him to train Yuki, who was his replacement, he could have been like, no, I'm not doing that. Why would I train my replacement? But no, he did. And he was a good trainer. He helped Yuki a lot. And so I think it's a rare commodity. I think people like Logan Sargent, I think an American driver would be huge for them. They could get some money. Like, it would be, I don't know if Logan himself will bring in money, but having an American driver going into American races, the marketing that some companies in America would like to have would be insane. I think financially, that would be the best move. I think Theo Porcher is really talented. That would be the talent push for me. And I gave Williams again a B-. Next, Alfa Romeo Racing, B+. Good job, Alfa Romeo. I was concerned that they were just going to go into abyss and they would sell their team, basically, to Andretti Racing, which was about to happen, by the way. Last year, this was supposed to be Andretti Racing, and Colton Herta, I think it is, the IndyCar driver. He was supposed to be in this. I think he's an IndyCar. He's some American series. He's supposed to be in this Josie, and it was supposed to be Andretti Racing. Stuff happened, business decisions, right? Stuff happens sometimes. But they got Guan Yu Zhou, or Zhou Guan Yu. I can't remember which one it is. I am sorry if I mess it up. It's one of those two. But he has been, I think, the most surprising driver I've ever seen. Because he's someone, when he came in, he was not like a popular choice. He was someone who was definitely seen as a Lance Stroll, as someone of those calibers, as a pay driver. He's there, but he's got talent, and he's not just a pay driver. He's a really entertaining person, and he's has a personality, and he's a unique and on the track, he is a very fast driver. I really didn't think he would be this fast. He has been a very nice surprise. Bottas has also really shown why he's been a world-class driver for almost a decade. Right? Yeah, almost a decade now. So, yeah. I'm really glad for Alfa Romeo. Has a solid potential. Haas, Ferrari, Motorsport. They get the second best grade at an A. They are also the last team. Haas have come back from complete back markers to battling this year, and at some points battling Mercedes. That's insane. And they had no upgrades until very, very recently. I am so proud of Haas. They have been amazing. Also, Gunther, my friend, you have one of the greatest quotes. It says, upgrades are overrated. Upgrades are overrated. He's right. They are very overrated. How many times have we seen teams like Williams who said, this is the best. Williams saying that their upgrades at Silverstone bring a second pace advantage, and then freaking Latifi gets into Q3. That is the pinnacle of upgrades overrated. And by the way, if you didn't know, Latifi had the normal car, and Albon had all the bits and parts that were new on the car. Latifi had the regular Willie. Like, that was insane. They've been doing it, and I think it takes times to make these upgrades get into the car. Driver wise, K Mag started off amazing. He's cooled off a little bit, and I think he's a little over aggressive on lap one. That's my biggest flaw, but I think he's decently good. He's been really good, especially for not having any like readiness to come into the season. And then for Shumi, I would say it's been a great second half to the first half, if that makes sense. Like the second half of the first half. First part was not good whatsoever. It was very bad. I was very not impressed by what I saw from him. But things have turned around, and it needs to, because he's out of a contract. He could go to Alpine or some team like that, but it'll be interesting. I think Shumi definitely needs to prove himself with some really good performances coming up, because Haas are ready. Because now Haas don't need to put a Ferrari driver in that second seat, which is very important. That means they can do whatever they want. And I think Gunter wants to put a veteran, someone who knows what they're doing, to that seat. Maybe a Daniel Ricciardo. I think that's... If Schumacher doesn't sign, I think Daniel going to Haas, I think that's a real possibility. All right, we got power rankings for teams. This is my power rankings. Kind of self-explanatory for teams. And first, we got Red Bull Racing, obviously. No really explanation. They have the best car and the best driver. Second, Ferrari. They're still ahead of Mercedes. The race pace is a lot better, even if they make mistakes. They're just a better team right now than Mercedes. Third, Mercedes. Fourth, Haas F1. Yes. Okay, continue. Alpine, fifth. Alfa Romeo, sixth. Seventh, McLaren. Eighth, Aston Martin. Ninth, AlphaTauri. And 10th, Williams. Some explanation. Haas, fourth, mainly because I just think they're better. They're just, the results have shown that I think they're the fourth best team. Definitely better than Alpine. McLaren don't have a good second driver who's in form. It doesn't help that now the second driver is starting to get into form at McLaren, Ricciardo. They're like, oh yeah, we want to replace you, even though you're under contract. Alfa Romeo, even though they have a good pair, and the car's not quite at where Haas is to me. McLaren, I already said. Aston and AlphaTauri nowhere, and Williams have a fucking brick attached to them. Alright, power ranking drivers. This is based on, if I was starting a team, who would I want in my car? 1, Max Verstappen. He hasn't made any mistakes, hasn't put a foot wrong anywhere. He hasn't had why did he that was kind of a bad performance. The only actually, he does have one. One was Monaco. That was kind of a bad performance from Max, I would say. Second, Charles. He has 6 poles. He's had great race pace. It's just he's been screwed a lot. 3, Lewis. Probably a little shocking. I think Lewis is going to be really good the second half, but he's been in a groove recently. 4th, George. I think George has been really impressive, even though if personally I'm not a fan of his antics. He is still a very, very, very good driver, George is. 5th, I have Carlos. Carlos would be probably had a George without a very, very bad start. It was so bad. But he's been very good recently. 6th place, Lando. I was tempted to put him higher, but he hasn't really done enough. He hasn't done enough yet. 7th, Sergio. Might come as a surprise, but his tire management has been good. And for a couple races, he was legitimately the best driver, I feel. I think he was better than Charles and Max for a couple races. 8th, Alonso. I mean, he's been unbelievable. He's 40 years old, And he should have been on front row in Australia, and he was front row in Canada. That's insane. 9th, Albon. Albon's doing an incredible job in Williams, and he's showing why he deserves to be there, and he got a multi-year contract to prove it. 10th, Vettel. Vettel is just on a race on a Sunday. He's on it always. He's ever since going to Aston, they never had a qualifying car, but he's always been amongst the most overtakes on a race weekend. 11, K-Mag. He's been very impressive for someone who just hasn't had any prep. 12th, Bottas. Recently, I think he could have been ahead of Vettel if it was earlier, if I had done this earlier in the year, but he's been kind of recently. So, Schumacher is 13th, 14th is Zhou. These are interchangeable, but I think Zhou's had a couple bad weekends and Schumi's had some really good weekends recently. So I'm going to put Schumi 13th, but these are very close. Ocon is 15th. I just feel like he's a step below some of these other guys. Gasly is top 5 talent. He has the George Lando talent. He is that good now. It's not like a Piastri or someone. He has that talent right now. It's something's off. Ricciardo 17th, Stroll 18th, Tsunoda 19th, and Latifi 20th, because he's just too good for Formula One. So that does for class today. I hope you guys enjoyed your session, and I'll see you guys next race.